All right, in this recording, I'm just going to walk through one of the homework problems from section 1C, start to finish. So I'm actually starting with Canvas on this, just to go from very start to finish. So start by opening your textbook. Go to Textbook Units, Chapter 1, and we're going to scroll down to 1C, which is, let's see, 1C problem set, that is, right here on page 23. And then to put this on the left side of the screen, I'm going to remove this tab from the browser, so it's a separate tab, separate window, and that way I can hold down the Windows key and the left arrow, and I have my textbook on the left, and then on the right, I'm going to open up my Excel file. So this problem says look at the campus data. So to do that, I'm going to go back to the Home tab on Canvas and go down to Datasets. And that brings me to the, so this one says open the Math 075 survey file, and campus data is inside of that. So we're going to click the Math 075 survey data. And then if I'm using Mozilla, I get that right here, and I can open it from here. And it opens, and I'm going to make some changes, so I'll click Enable Editing. I'll save it to my desktop. I can rename it with my name in my Math 75 file. I won't do that part, but that part is something you should do. Okay, so now I'm going to look at campus data. That means this first column, column A. We're going to make a pie chart with percentages and frequencies, a bar chart with counts above each bar, and percentage bar chart. So we're actually just going to combine and make one bar chart with both of those things. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is I'm going to maximize my Excel now to walk through the process here. Highlight all of column A by hovering over the A, and I get that black arrow. When I have that black arrow over the A, that means when I click, I get the whole column. Click Control C, or you can right click and say copy. I'm going to go to sheet 2, and to paste, I say Control V. I'm going to rename sheet 2 by double clicking on the name sheet 2 and calling it Campus. And maybe you already have maybe you're going on to sheet 3 or sheet 4 because maybe you're using that same document we used in the last recording for transportation. All right, so I'm just going back to that first sheet to rename it raw data so I know where everything is on my sheet. See how this is still in highlights? It's still having that dancing dotted line. It's still waiting to be copied again. So if I want to get rid of that, then I can hit the escape key, and then it's like starting from fresh, and my clipboard is clear and I'm ready to work. Okay, so the first step to make a bar chart or pie chart is to make a pivot table or a frequency chart. So the first thing we're going to do is with all this highlighted, if it's not highlighted, then click on that black arrow on the A again to highlight it. Insert Pivot Table. Pivot Table is going to give us our frequency chart. Select a table or range. It should already have campus data from column A. And I want to put it in this existing worksheet since I have space here. And where I want it to be, I'm going to click in this dialog box and click on the worksheet where I want it to be when I have the white crossbar as my cursor. So I'm going to put it in C1, and I'll click OK. Then I get this information on the right that says campus. I can pull campus down to rows, and I can pull it down to values. And now I have count the labels. There's only two options here. It's either Canyon Country or Valencia, and the count of how many people were at that campus, with 459 total. As you can see, this list, if I scroll down, I do see 459 total, plus one extra for that row on the top that has just the column heading. So 460 lines, 459 total. So that's correct. So now I want to move on to inserting my bar chart and my pie chart. So I can highlight this table either while you're on the blue crossbar, click and drag it so you get all of that highlighted. Or you can click on that top C1 and click Control A. That's how I did in the first recording. Now I'm going to go to Insert, Pie Chart in 2D. And I make a few edits here. I don't want it to be called Total. I want it to be called, so double click there, and I'm going to call it Campus I'll just call it Campus. And now, let's see what else. Oh, I want labels. So get that green plus sign and include labels. And that gives me the count. Since the only thing that's in my table is count, I only have count for now. I'll show you how to get percentages in a few minutes. Now to get the bar graph. So I'm going to go to Insert and Bar Graph. Not histogram, that's a mistake. Bar graph is this one. And I want 2D cluster columns. Oh, you know what happened is I didn't highlight my data, so it's giving me no results. So I need to go highlight my data. So I go to C1, get that white crossbar, click, keep it clicked, and drag to the other corner of the table so it highlights the whole table. And now I go to Insert, Bar Graphs, Cluster, and now I get a bar graph. Couple things I'm going to change. I don't like the column being called total, so I'm going to call this campus. On the bar graph, this particular legend isn't very helpful, so I'll delete that. Also, I have this blank column show up because when I highlighted, I included the blank. So I can take that out by, so in the bottom left corner, you'll see this little campus drop-down box, and it kind of just shows everything that's going to get graphed. I can take the blank column out by unchecking it. Now that blank row is gone. Okay, so now I have a bar chart and a campus. Oh, I need labels on the campus bar chart. So go to the plus sign and add in some data labels. Now I have counts. So now I want to copy this over to a Word document so I can submit it. So I want to have a little more space on my window, so I'm going to use Window button, right arrow, and that puts my Excel file on the right side. I'm going to close this Format Shape box as it's taking up some of my screen that I want back. This is the data. I can move this over so it's all together so I can get it all on one screen. Close that again. And this is the data I want to put on my Word document for my homework. So I have my frequency table, my bar chart, and my pie chart and my bar chart. So now I'm going to open up a Word document. Let's get a blank document. And make it a little bigger. And I'm going to cut and paste this stuff onto my homework. So this was problem set 1C. number 1 from Excel. I made a frequency table, bar chart, and pie chart. And then I can just cut and paste. And I can't actually just cut and paste. If I click and say Control C and cut and paste, then those graphs are actually going to be linked to this file. So if this file disappears, then the graphs will also say data cannot be found. So instead of copying and pasting, I'm going to take a snapshot of that. You can do a screenshot, or if you have, let's see if I can get this in the window here. This little snipping tool right here in Windows, you can click that. If you don't have it, you just type in the search box snipping tool and you'll get it. Let's see if I can get that back now. So snipping tool in Windows, and I want a new snip. You can change it, it doesn't have to be rectangular. You can also do a freeform snip, so if I want just this pretty graph or something, I can make whatever shape I want. But that's not particularly what I want right now. Right now, I'm good with a rectangle. So I'll do a rectangular snip and click New. And I want this white crossbar. I'm going to click it around everything I want copied. So start in the top left corner, click, hold down the clicker, and drag it all the way to the bottom right corner of my picture. So I've selected everything I want in my picture. Now I go to my Word document and I click Control V. And if it does happen to leave your clipboard, you can get it back on your clipboard by clicking this little button right here. That just copies it to your clipboard, so you're ready to click Control V wherever you want it. So here's my answer to number 1. Now I'm just going to review that homework problem again. I do think it said, so we made a pie chart. We only have counts. We don't have percentages. So in a few minutes, I'll show you how to do that. Make a rough sketch of the graphs on a piece of paper. So that's one way to do it, or you can cut and paste into the Word document like I just did here. So before I answer these questions, I'm actually going to show you how to do the percentages first. So percentages. Okay, here we go. So for the percentages, this column right here, column D, in fact, you know what, let me actually expand Excel so you can see the whole thing. And let me keep column D. Actually, it's fine. Okay, let's go to column D. And if you right click on the top of there, whoops, not with it. So you want your cell highlight not to be around that row. It can be anywhere else except for on D1. So on D1, I right click on D1. So I get show values as. I get this menu. And from show values as, right now we have it as count. It's just counting how many of each campus is on that list. We want to change it to % of column total. That means it's going to take the count and divide it by that 459, that column total. And that's going to give us the % proportion. So I'll select % of column total. And now I have 39% in Canyon Country and 60% in Valencia. So I can go back to my Word document and let's see, what I think I'll do here is do snipping tool and snip just the % to paste that onto my campus data. It came out over here. You can edit this to, there's a couple different ways to do this. This is one way is to just cut and paste the percentage there. You can also use a text box and just add the % there. Or if you're printing, you can just write it on in pen. So one way to do